Hey everyone, this weekend there wasn't a official Vanguard tournament, like an official Booster or WGP or, Springfest or anything like that. But they had a VGCS in Japan that was right after basically the release of Messiah. And I guess that is what everyone is looking at. Everyone wants to see how good Messiah is. How does it clap the rest of the meta? Or if it just is like a worse Chronojet. That is the question that everyone is asking, right? Is there going to be brand gate domination? And I guess the results were a bit surprising, because I think the theory going into this next format was that, Messiah's a good deck. He's just not that good. It's like not hanging out with the top boys. It's just hanging out with the boys, right? In like probably like A tier or something like that, not S tier, not like tier 1, right? Where Ava and Chronojet you'd think just to stay there, right? So interestingly, there was quite a lot of people at the tournament. This one was a singles tournament, so a bit different for Japan. Usually Japan just runs like team tournaments all the time, but yeah, 90 players joining this singles tournament. And if we want to look at the breakdown here, they have some of the data, and the majority of players were playing Chronojet, right? 22 players here playing Chronojet. Zoom it in a bit. Make it very big, right? 22 players are playing Chronojet. The next popular deck was Messiah itself with 14 players, and then after that is the Ava, and then the Youthberg, and then it just kind of gets like lower and lower from there, right? Like 5 players playing Overlord, and yeah. Not surprising, right? Again, Chronojet, solid deck, kind of easy to build, yeah, because it's like TD plus swirlers. Same thing with Alter Ego Messiah, Messiah deck set, then plus Mekanis usually is what people are on. That's the most expensive card, so very easy decks to build, very strong decks. And then the Ava, we've been seeing Ava like just continuously do well for basically the last X months, ever since set 8 was released. So overall, this is very, very expectant of the pie chart. The only thing that's a bit different is that, the amount of players not playing Youthberg, right? Because Youthberg was one of the bigger picks in the meta for some time, at least since from set 7, but has gradually dropped off, right? Gradually dropped off. As set 8 continued, more people started gravitating towards that set 8 stuff. And as you can see, more people gravitating to like, brand gate decks, which just have better over triggers, just auto win over triggers, right? Winning 1 out of 10 games automatically. But let's look at the top cut, and they do cut to a different kind of top cut. You can see here there is actually 12 players in the top cut, and I'll explain that soon. But let's kind of talk about the meta, right? So going to top cut, we have 5 players playing the Messiah deck and only 3 players playing the Chronojet deck. And then after that, rest of it is just the one-offs. So, Youthberg, Bavsagra, and Archite. Why is it like that, right? What happened? Why did Chronojet drop off? I think conversion rates for this is a bit like, it's a bit misleading. Conversion rate is just a stat, right? It's just a metric. It's not really, it doesn't really, how do you say it, explain too much by itself, except for the fact that there were X players playing this deck and only Y of them made it to the top cut, right? There could be a lot of factors, on the day people got sacked, matchups are bad, all the good players are playing Messiah, and then, not as many good players playing Jet. That could be it, right? You have to remember, when decks become the most popular deck in the format, everyone plays it. Even the weaker players, because they go, hey, Mr. Dude over there topped, and he's like a really good player. I'm going to copy him and build his deck, and I'm going to top 2. And what happens most of the time is they don't, right? So it's a bit of a strange metric. But what this does mean, though, is that Messiah is probably not as bad as you think it is, right? It's definitely a good deck, and that's pretty much what we can kind of extrapolate from there. Now, why do they cut to a top 12 instead of a top 8? So in this format, I think they cut to top 12, and the top 4 players of Swiss doesn't have to play the first round of top cut. So they'll have a bunch of players who are, X1s, or even X1s might make top 4. But yeah, there are a bunch of X1s and a few X2s make it into top 12, and then those guys play it out. And then, 8 of them, 8 players playing, 4 of them will continue to the next part of top cut, which will then play like the top 4 plays in Swiss, and then a normal top 8 continues. So that's why we're cutting to the top 8 of well, not top 12, I mean, in this format, which is a bit different, but also kind of interesting. But yeah, that is basically the rundown we have. So if you've pre-ordered your Messiah decks and are going, wow, did I do the right thing? You're fine. You're going fine, right? It should be good. It should be good. It's not as bad as you think, right? This is standard. This is Vanguard. Let's look at the winner. So the winner deck we have is actually the Messiah. So let's kind of zoom it out here now. So the winner deck was actually Messiah, and we can see some of the different builds that have been, popping up. The main key focus is Makani's and the Hero Girl, right? So right now here, we don't actually see any Makani's, which is very, very crazy. Makani's like I think it's a 3k yen card right now. It's really jumped up from like super cheap card to like actually a super expensive card. But this guy decided not to even run it. He might not even be able to afford it, right? And this was Renka as well. So, but I think the key takeaway is that he's running 4 of the Hammer Girl, 4 of the Hero Girl. And this is going to be a trend that we're going to see a lot. The Hammer Girl just allows you to play the mirror a bit better, versus, Makani being able to soul charge and let you draw more. So it looks like valuing the ability to retire your opponent's important cards in the mirror, like their arresters and all that, is more important than actually just drawing a bunch of cards, right? Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting to see. This deck did come first. We don't really need to see the G deck. It's just gonna be 8 cards. That's really the only change that you see in the Stride deck at all, right? The rest of it is just pretty much just from the box, except for the second tube. And the second place was actually Chronojet. So, Chronojet's still doing well, coming second. This build slightly more focused on the Grey 2 game, right? We see the 2 Edens here and the 4 Swirlers. But that's pretty much it. That's the most important takeaways from this deck. We have pretty much just seen this build pop off quite a few times already. And then after that, in third place, we do have the Ebisu, which is still continuously doing well, right? It's decent deck, still there. In the fourth deck, we have another Chronojet. So out of the top 4, we have 2 Chronojets and only 1 Messiah. But looking at this build, it's a bit different from the other Chronojet build, right? We talked about Edens before, just to be able to allow you to play a slightly better Grade 2 game. But this one's just not running any of that. It's just running, 4 Swirlers. I know a lot of other players are running some of the new, Gungaram instead, or, the on-hit Soul Charge, I think, too. But I don't really see that often. The most important card you really see is just the Swirlers, and then the rest of it could be anything, could be something, or could be nothing, right? And I don't know, from these 3 Stride decks, right? Decks that can Stride in stand, I think the main takeaway is so far that Grade 2 games are rated, guys. Let's go to Grade 3, start striding, and hope for the best, right? That could be it. That could be a good takeaway. Or, if you play test a bit differently, that's, hey, maybe the Grade 2 game is very, very important for you, but it doesn't have to be that specific play style that you play for, right? If you know your deck can't play Grade 2, just don't play Grade 2, straight up. But let's kind of look at the rest of the decks here. The other part of the top part of the top 8 is just a bunch of Alter Ego Messiahs, and then one more Chronojet. The Youthberg was there too. We don't have the Berserker list, and then there was an Archite list. So let's kind of go through that. First off, this Alter Ego list, you can see running Makani's. This guy actually decided to run Makani's, but also the Hero Girl, so it's a 3-3 split, and then just cutting a bit of Destiny Dealers, and yeah, pretty much that. But then the second Messiah list here, we do have more of the Hero Girl and then 3 Makani. It's actually 4, cutting all the way to just adding 4 of the 4 of her. And then the next one we have is again 3 Hero Girl and then one Makani only, right? And then the last list I think we have is here. This one's actually just not running the Hero Girl. So this is the only list not running the Hero Girl, but running 4 Makanis. So all the Messiah lists have basically told us, except for this one, the Hero Girl is more important than Makani. And since she's more important, let's go ahead and get that name up. Should be a Sphere? All right. A flattened sphere? Yeah, okay. But yeah, this pretty much she is more like getting rid of your opponent's card is more important than drawing more cards. So that's a pretty cool takeaway for the entire deck. And yeah, just I guess you're not playing a great game with this deck anyway. Just go up and then just hope for the best, right? Trigger this card, trigger this thing, and win. Yeah. All right. Then the next card, well, next deck we see is the Chronojet deck. Again, kind of similar. No Edens, just going the Swellers. One of this new card though, which is interesting to see, right? Just extra intercept, extra shield, right? So apart from that, the rest of it is just straight up just Sweller, a 4 Sweller build, and that is it. And I feel like that is the most common build we've seen for Chronojet, at least from Japan. Going into, you know, we're going to be going to set 10 soonish, and everyone is still, you know, Swirler is still the flex pick that you have. So I think that's pretty much an important takeaway. Then next we have the Youthberg list. Youthberg, you know, with the, I think, Reedy, right? So yeah, it's still there. It's still there. Not as dire as you think. I think, yeah, if you have this deck, you know, you can still continue playing it and you'll still do fine. And then lastly is this Archite list. I know in Britain or England or UK, there was another Archite list that did well in their VGCS that happened over the weekend. But also there was like an Archite list that did well the previous week in Kyoto, right? So Archite showing up a few times. Nothing too meta breaking, I don't see. It's still probably not as good as like as everything else. I think there's definitely better picks. But yeah, this is pretty much it. But yeah, it looks like in the top 12 there was no Ava. Did I get that wrong? There was just no Ava. So yeah, Ava underperforming. What is going on? Looks like the Premier Branke deck right now is the Messiah. But yeah, that is pretty much the breakdown of the current, well, not the current Japanese, but the meta that just happened right after Messiah. We do see, you know, Messiah definitely is represented. If it wasn't a good deck, it wouldn't have done that well, I think. So, you know, it's definitely a decent deck. Is it overrepresented? We don't know. It's still, could be a lot of hype behind it. We do have set 10 coming out with more hype for other decks too. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time. What do you think of the new Messiah deck? Is it better than Chronojet? Is it not? Yeah. Let me know, all right? Let me know. See you all next time. All right, bye.